The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to today's helpline session with your host, James McDonald.
Well, thank you very much, Andrea, and good morning and happy Monday to all of our participants here. Welcome to our helpline session, and as you know, every Monday we do these helpline sessions so that we can talk about anything you like. Any topic is fair game. If you have questions, if you want to bring up a particular topic of discussion, if there's something that you've been working on or would like to implement. We did several webinars last week. If you have any questions about anything that was raised on any of those webinars, we did a great ad clinic session on Friday. If you missed that and you want to go back and readdress it, you can certainly do that. It's up and available on the website. And of course, I would encourage you to make sure that this week you start thinking now about uploading your ads for the Friday ad clinic call this week. And throughout the week, as you run ads, just take them. And in addition to sending them to your coach, you should be uploading them to the ad clinic file right on the coaching website, which we're showing you right now. Now, here's what we're going to do this morning. I want all of you to start to consider your questions here or topics or anything you'd like. And, of course, you can just type them right into the chat, or you can raise your hand, and as long as you have a working microphone, then we can talk right on the webinar here. But before we do that, I'm really happy this morning that Lester Cox has joined us here on the webinar. And for a lot of you, you're being coached by Lester. If you're not being coached by Lester, certainly you know Lester from the super conferences. Lester's hugely involved in our system, in our coaching, in aspects behind the scenes with the system. And I was really pleasantly surprised this morning when good old Lester was on the webinar with us here. So first of all, Lester, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us here today.
Good morning, James. My pleasure. I just came on to kind of listen in and learn a few things. I try to sneak in there every now and then, and it's amazing because you always pick up new stuff every time you're on these calls.
Yeah, well, what I was hoping to do is basically disappoint you and do all the learning from you. So there you go. But here's what I wanted to talk about here this morning is, on Friday we looked at a good mix of different ads, and I want to talk about the website versus the hotline. And particularly I want to talk about when it would be appropriate to only focus on the website in an ad and when it would be appropriate to only focus on the hotline in an ad. Is it always better to use both? And here's where your wisdom really comes into this, especially, is that not only are you training other agents and coaching students and really using that laboratory to look at what they're doing and see what's working, but in Phoenix, in your own marketplace, you and your team are doing exactly the same thing. Although your lead generation is pretty established, you're always testing. But I wanted to start with that topic because it is something that came up and has for some time, particularly with the editorial style ads, in our findings that using just a hotline in an editorial ad is far superior than adding a website. So then the question comes, okay, well, what about all the other ads? What is the sort of the magic formula? And I'd love to get your take on that, Lester.
Well, obviously the editorial ads, without a doubt, and believe me, I have made every mistake you could make with the editorial ads. I decided I'd put both in, and then I decided I'd add a QR code, and whatever they had out there, I was trying it. Huge failure. I mean, you got to the editorial ads stick to just hotline and hotline only. You'll get fewer leads, but what you'll end up doing if you put a URL in your editorial ad, you get a lot of hits to your website. People will go to the website expecting to get the information that they're looking for, and when they don't see it, they just go away, and you don't know who they are. Now, nobody dials an 800 number expecting to get the free report. They dial the 800 number expecting to order the free report. So you get good information on your hotlines, way far superior than using a URL. In fact, if you're going to run an editorial ad, you're going to put a URL on it. Just save your money. Don't even do it because you'll be grossly disappointed. On classified ads I measure by the line. So if I'm having to buy a classified ad by the line, I'm probably going to use a URL only. And the reason I say that is if I have to pay extra lineage to put in the 800 number, when you consider that people that are looking at a classified ad are actually looking for a home, and the ad that you've got up there right now, James, would probably be an ad where you would buy that space, that particular block of space. But if you were buying this space by the line, then I don't use an 800 number in my classified ads if I'm buying by the line. Primarily, here's the reason why. I just determined some time ago that since 90-some% of people start their search or some point in time are searching on the internet for their new home, that means 90-some% of the people out there have access to a computer. And basically what I was doing when I was running these famous little 3- and 4-line ads, they were only 3 or 4 lines long. So I was able to do it with a URL in 4 lines, where with a classified in using the 800 number, it would run to 7 or 8 lines. So I was doubling the cost of my ad to reach the 7% of the people out there who didn't have a computer. It just didn't make economic sense. I decided rather than do that, what I'd rather do is run 2 ads. I'm not trying to save the money. I'm just trying to get more leads, and running 2 ads in 2 different locations seemed to increase the number of leads as opposed to just adding an 800 number in a classified ad. So any place where I have to pay to add the 800 number, I don't run it. With classified, it's the only place I can think of that. A display ad, you would put the 800 number and the URL. Classified would be the only exception to the 800 number in my book. That's the only place that I don't run it because it costs me three lines to run an 800 number in a classified ad.
And obviously there are exceptions where you're specifically offering something online. Like, for example, if you're going to run an ad, find out what your home is worth online. Well, you'd look pretty foolish having an 800 number in an ad that says find out online.
Yeah, certainly. That goes without saying. Although, I remember Craig way back when had find out free over-the-phone home evaluation.
That's how it started. Yeah, that's how it started.
Which actually sometimes when you look back in the past and you revive these old things, they still work.
Yep.
I haven't done that, but it's a great example of something that you could go back and try. Certainly for the advanced aging generation, which I'm no longer a part of, I've decided to come back in years. So, a lot of the folks that are hitting that retirement age and whatever still don't mind using the telephone. So don't shy away from the 800 numbers. The only place, again, that I say I wouldn't use it is probably in classified if it's costing me money to run the ad. In an ad like this, if I was buying a 2-inch ad, I could put whatever I want in a 2-inch ad. And that holds true for a lot of your local newspapers. Your big newspapers, you're always buying by the line. And, quite frankly, if I'm going to run classified ads, I prefer to run in the big newspapers.
Right. Right. Now, what about as it pertains to running a USP? Some of the ads that we looked at on Friday were like property display ads where you're displaying your listing inventory, and as a headline, you're running your USP to really grab attention and to differentiate, your ad from all the other ads and really to differentiate you from all of the other realtors. And in that USP, you need to have a call to action. You need to tell the prospect what to do. And if you think about it, you got so many options. I mean, the leads are of such high quality, it would be perfectly good for them to call you directly like Marcus is doing. I don't know if you're in front of your computer, Lester, but we're showing you Marcus's ad from Friday. Marcus just wants them to call directly. But of course, you can also offer the hotline. You can offer the website. So give us your take on that and what you found, not only personally, but also with your students in terms of USP.
When you're doing a strong USP, I like the call direct for the information, either using an 800 number or call me directly. The problem with, again, using the website is when they go there. So if I wanted to go to Marcus's website and I wanted to find out how this program works where he'll pay me the difference in cash, and I get to the website, if I don't see what I'm looking for, I go away.
Right.
Where if I dial that 800 number or if I dial Marcus's number and he answers the phone, I got you. I mean, even if you didn't hear at the 800 number what you wanted, at least we can call you back. We know why you called, and we can call you back, and we can go through the universal callback script and qualify you as a buyer or seller.
Right. And I guess, you could argue that the difference with a USP and having the prospect call you directly on that is simply because of the quality of prospect that calls on a USP. In terms of your ability to convert that lead, a USP lead is certainly going to rank right towards the very top.
Absolutely. And it's not all about the number of leads that you generate. I generate more leads right now than I can handle in my office. I'm desperate for agents. So we don't always concentrate on the number of leads. Go back to the quality of leads. So you really want to get good quality leads, people who are willing to jump through those hoops. Again, I know everybody in the world says print advertising is dead, but if you've got a decent classified section, I would rather have a classified lead. I mean, best lead in the world is a sign call. Okay, that's the best lead. Nothing beats sign call. But a classified ad lead for a buyer where somebody had to go to the store and pick up the paper or actually find the classified section in the Sunday paper. They have to go there. They scour through the ads. They put the paper down. They go to your website and enter the URL. That's a great lead. They've jumped through enough hoops. That's a great lead. Far superior than to a pay-per-click lead. Pay-per-click, I could be looking for a recipe, and out of the corner of my eye, I see something that offers a free list of foreclosures, and that catches my eye. And I wasn't really looking for houses, but I click on it because it caught my eye. And I'll fill out the information. It's not, I could be a really good lead, right? But again, I could be just somebody who was surfing the web.
Right. And that's why for those leads, we want to push them to your landing pages so that they jump through hoops on the landing page.
Absolutely.
As opposed to them jumping through hoops before they get there. We're going to get them to jump through hoops on the landing page, describing what they're looking for, giving their full contact information. The vast majority of them won't do that, which is good because we don't want the vast majority of them. We want the good ones.
Yeah, I remember. I love how you put it when you do a half day of, what if I could show you how to get 100% of the people to give up their name and their phone number and everything. Would you be good with that? And everybody says, yeah. And how you answer that?
Yeah. Well, if you have 10 leads and only 2 of them request the information, leave contact information, would you rather call back all 10 to try to find out who the 2 best ones are, or would you rather your website just tell you who the 2 best ones are in the first place? Or are you looking to make extra phone calls? Are you looking to call through the whole phone book to try to find out who the good ones are? And, of course, the whole point of doing this is because we want the good ones. We want to make this easier, not more difficult. But, yeah, there's so much testing that goes into figuring this out. And I know that, a lot of our members, maybe they have the impression that, if you're running ads online, you really don't need a hotline at all. That's all you're doing. You're just doing online ads. If you're only doing online ads right now, though, you really do need to diversify. You need to have leads coming in from multiple sources. The more sources you have your leads coming in from, the more consistent everything will be, including your income. And maybe, Lester, you can talk a little bit about that, with your students over the years. We've all had the coaching student that, they get up and running. They run some ads on Craigslist. They generate a few leads every day, and so they stick with that for months on end. And you find out that they're not doing anything else besides, running those few ads at work. Talk about that.
Well, and that's a good example right there, James, because Craigslist often changes the rules. And right now, Craigslist, as I understand it, because I have somebody posting, everything is now you got to copy and paste to get something, and the lead volume from Craigslist is just atrocious now.
Talk about jumping through a hoop.
Yeah,
the prospect has to really jump through a hoop now. They can't just burn a calorie and click on your link. They have to copy and paste the link up into their browser.
But that is a really good thing when you think about it.
I think so too.
Because
yes,
it really qualifies the lead that comes in on Craigslist as being now a good lead because they had to jump through hoops.
Can I tell you what else we're finding it's doing? It's getting rid of a lot of the other realtors that were running ads and now they're starting to disappear a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of like Craigslist in Phoenix for a long time. We've had to pay for classified advertising to hire somebody for a job. Right. And I remember back when it was free, you would post a job on Craigslist and it'd be mixed in with 1 million job postings, and now it's mixed in with 12, because people won't pay to post there. Well, now your ad gets seen. So it's actually a blessing that you have to pay to get to put an ad on Craigslist, because you actually get better response now than you got when it was free.
Yeah.
So, I like these ads that you've got up here, James. It brings back old memories, and our market is circling back to this again. I love those, where the fixer-upper ads, the divorce ads. I mean, those are all great ads. 11 costly home inspection pitfalls is a huge seller ad. It brings in lots of seller leads. So it's nice to see that we're circling back to this market. At least in the Arizona market, we're circling back. We're about done with REO in our market. I think most of the states that are non-judicial have worked their way through the closure.
Lester, interesting that you bring that up, because that's the perfect segue into exactly what I wanted to ask you about next, which is basically this. Obviously you've been doing this for a long time. For those on the call that don't know, Lester, you've been doing this for 40 years. So your fingers has been on the pulse of real estate for longer than a lot of us have been alive.
Thank you.
Well, you got started when you were 9, though, so it's okay.
Yes, yeah, that's right. I got license number 2.
Right. License number 2. Lester's license is 2. But also, you're also working with students from around the country. And what I wanted to ask you about is where are we going here? Where is the marketplace going? Where do you see this in the grand scheme and the grand cycle of real estate? What is this year going to look like? Around the country, interest rates, seller market. What's happening? What's your take?
Well, I think we're in a market where it's going to be comparable to last year, but maybe a little bit better than last year. It'll be better for our members because they're better prepared for the market. So it depends on the states and the markets, but overall, I think you're going to find that this year's markets are going to be, for the most part, just a wide brush swept across the United States. It's going to be very similar to last year. There will be some hot markets because of the foreclosures that are coming on now that have been in the process for 2 or 3 years. So I don't think it's not scary at all. I think overall it's going to be a really decent year. I know I've talked to several of our members, and they're starting off with gangbuster years,
And what about in terms of the shift in the realtors themselves? One of the things that we've always looked at is how the transactions are distributed among the realtors in a given marketplace. And of course, what we're finding is that there's this tremendous shift up to the top, say, 5% of realtors in every market, where it's common now that every marketplace has, maybe a few teams that sell 100, 150, 200 properties a year, and the shift is going more and more towards that.
I was talking to Todd last week. We were talking about the 80-20 rule. I said, Todd, I think it's more like the 90-10 rule. I said, I don't think the 80-20 rule works anymore. I think it might be 95-5.
Well, in a lot of the marketplaces that we've looked at with Leon Dancona, it's clearly 95-5. You've got 5% of the realtors responsible for 95% of the transactions, and 5% of the realtors in the entire market responsible for 5% of the transactions. And
let me tell you, it doesn't take too much to be in the top 1% of your profession. The bar is not set too high, so it's really not difficult. I mean, if you're starting to do 50, 60, 70 transactions a year, you're
in the 1%.
You're absolutely rock star material.
Yep.
So and that's what's wonderful about Craig's program is that if you're doing 20 transactions a year on your own right now, it's so simple to take you to 40 and 50 and 60 transactions a year. It's so easy. If you're not at 20 yet, You know, you got to work with your coach and have him get you to 20, and then we'll take you to 40, then we'll take you to 60, wherever you want to go. There's no limits. The cool thing about Craig's system, there's no limits on what you want to do. There's nobody. I think the most units I ever heard anybody doing was Brian Pellington up in Vegas. Did about 1,200 units in 1 year in REO. But in normal real estate sales, I mean, the top people in the country are probably doing in 700 or 800, 900 units a year. There's nothing says you can't do 2,000 or 3,000 units a year if you want to, if that's where you want to take it. But also you can be super successful doing 20, 25 units a year. You know, success doesn't have a definition that's wrong. Everybody's definition of success is different, and there's no wrong answer to it. It's what makes you happy.
You know, Lester, one of the observations that we've always made is that to do 20 deals a year, you know what it requires, you know, overwhelmingly the majority of the time is really rolling up your sleeves and working really hard to do those 20 deals. And what we find is that when we find a student that's doing 40 deals, to take them from 40 deals to 80 deals is actually easier a lot of times than taking a student from 20 deals to 40 deals, because if you're doing 40 deals already, it's likely you're doing that because of leverage. You know, leverage marketing, leverage technology. You're probably not doing it yourself. You probably got a little bit of help. So to double your outcome is a lot easier when you understand the concept of leverage. But if the way you're doing 20 deals is everything yourself, it's grunt labor to make that happen, well, the only way to get to 40 would be to do double the amount of labor. And obviously it's impossible. You simply run out of time. So, you know, you can look at these numbers that you're citing here, 300, 400, 700 transactions and think, that's insane. But the irony is that really, if you can do 100 transactions, the only way you'd be able to do that is through systems, through leverage. You're not doing that yourself. You're doing that by putting these systems in place and allowing them to work. Well, if the systems are doing the work, well, it's easy to duplicate the systems. It's easy to multiply the systems, a lot easier than it would be to multiply your labor and say, knock on twice as many doors, make 3 times as many phone calls. You know, that would be, you know, something that wouldn't be sustainable for sure. And so sometimes that's a real challenge that we have.
It's absolutely, you're dead on. It's totally about leveraging yourself with systems and technology and people. Everybody's got the same 24 hours in every day, and it's a matter of what you do with them and how you utilize them. It separates, the really overachievers from the underachievers. And, the big thing is, I mean, without leverage, James, I could have never done what I did. I mean, if Craig hadn't taught me how to leverage this business with people and systems and technology, there's no way I wouldn't even be in the business today. I would have been long gone. I would have burned out. Because I was doing quite well. You know, when I met Craig, I was doing fine, but right. Never to the level where he took me. So, but it's all about leverage. I mean, you've got to leverage yourself. Again, like you said, if you're doing 20 deals a year and you're working 16, 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, you're done. Right. Unless you can figure out a way to get more hours in a day than I can, you're done. So the only way you can increase that is leverage through technology, people, and systems. And systems I love because it makes things duplicatable, and it doesn't require my touching it. You know, when I first started with Craig, I was a total micromanager. I mean, I absolutely had my finger on everything that happened in my business. Nothing left my desk without my seal of approval on it. And I remember the one banner, the huge banner at the Super Conference that changed the way I looked at everything, and that was, if you can't change the outcome, delegate it. And I'll tell you what, that has been the most powerful statement I have ever read, I think, because it changed the way I did my business. I figured out a way to delegate almost everything. I mean,
Explain what that means. If you can't change the outcome, delegate it. Talk about that.
Well, you have to be involved in money-making activities. Things you can change the outcome on are telephone calls. You can't change the outcome on putting a listing on MLS. So you sitting there pounding out a listing and then putting all that data into MLS for 2 hours, it's not going to make any difference if you did it or if your assistant did it or somebody else did it. It's going to look the same in MLS when you get it all done. So anything that's duplicatable, anything that you can train somebody else to do, that the outcome remains exactly the same regardless of who did it, then that's something you don't need to be doing. That you need to be doing money-making dollar activities that relate to money at the bottom line.
Right.
So, and the biggest thing is like going on a listing appointment. That is a money-making activity. That's something you can change the outcome on.
Well, it's lead conversion.
You would not send an assistant on that. You would go do that. You would never put a listing in MLS. An assistant could always do that. Running ads. Once you have created and developed the ads, placing the ads becomes a system that an assistant can do. So anything that you can think of that can be delegated and the outcome doesn't change, you should be doing it.
And so once you discover that, you also discover that sometimes other people are actually better at some of those things than you are. So you find out that the outcome actually changes because maybe you're a high ID personality and you hire someone who's a C and S personality, and lo and behold, you find out that because they're more in tune with the details, they actually end up doing a better job at some of these things than you would have done had you kept them for yourself, thinking that you're the only one that can do them.
Well, on top of that, a lot more gets done.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get to everything, and a lot of stuff just went without being accomplished. Now it doesn't even touch me. I don't even see it. Don't even care about it. Don't even know about it. People ask me, who does, how do you do this Craigslist ad? I have no idea. I have somebody who does it. I don't do that.
Right.
I wouldn't have any clue how to do it. So fortunately, I have a really good assistant, and she'll help all my coaching members, and she's like my sub coach. So. We're certainly able to help you, here with the Craig Proctor system. But as far as sometimes your coach being able to do it, you're probably going to find a lot of times your coach can't do it either because he's delegated. Hopefully he has. But that is a huge change in your life right there. When you learn to delegate, you get your life back. And I'll tell you what, for our newer members on here, the day you hire that first administrative assistant will be the day you have been set free. You will love that day. And I will tell you, every one of my coaching members who's made that hire, everyone 100% would tell you that's the best thing they ever did in their life. It created so much more time and opportunity for them to do money-making activities. In fact, not having that person is costing you money.
Lester, I know I want you to let you get on with your day here. I really appreciate the time. The last thing I wanted to ask you about was this. We had an observation where we're really thinking, a lot of our platinum level and really top level students in the system will give us testimonials essentially to their own marketplace, to their own competitors. And we really delved into that and thought, do we really have the competition in individual marketplaces that you think you have? And, looking with Leon Dancona, and all of you know Leon is our stats guy from Toronto. He does all the stats for Info Marketing Solutions. And one of the things that we discovered was this. When you look at the sales by realtor in any given marketplace, what you'll find is there are pages and pages and pages of realtors with zeros beside their name under the transaction column. You'll find 0, 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4, and there are pages and pages and pages of realtors' names with, these numbers, these very low, if not zero numbers beside their name. The overwhelming majority of the realtors in the marketplace are selling 5 properties or less. But when you look at your marketplace, you look at your marketplace as a whole, and you say, we have 1,500 agents. We have 3,500 agents. I have 5,000 competitors. And looking at that, you got to look at that and say, do you really? Or is the reality that the overwhelming majority of your competitors don't compete with you at all because they're only doing business with people they know? That's all. I mean, those 2 or 3 or 4 transactions a year that they're doing, those aren't transactions that you would be going. Those are their friends, their immediate family, themselves. So this idea that there's all of this competition, really, it's unfounded. Your competitors are very, very limited in terms of the number of realtors in the marketplace that actually make a consistent effort to procure business from strangers in the marketplace, from the general public that they don't know. And Lester, I wanted to get your feelings on that because, your partner Brett came out to our seminar and did an awesome job in Phoenix last week. And hey, Brett's talking to his competitors there, but he clearly lives in a world of abundance. There's lots and lots of business, and he's not at all concerned about somebody coming and taking it.
No, we're not worried about that. I mean, there's plenty of business out there for everybody, and like you said, the vast majority of agents in this market are doing 1, 2, and 3 transactions a year. I mean, I'm just looking right now at IMS as you're talking. We got 20,787 agents participated in a transaction in the last 12 months, and it's 208 pages. I've gone back to page 190, and I'm still at one unit, one sale. So I don't know how many there are, but it's the vast majority are doing 1, 2, and 3 transactions a year. And, those are probably part-time folks, and like you said, they're doing their own transaction, or they got a real estate license thinking this is a hobby. But they're certainly not the people that are taking anything away from you. They're not doing. It's a good point you make, James, because they're not doing an advertising budget, so they're not actually out there looking for people. I mean, my gosh, if they were really working hard at this and doing 1 transaction a year, I mean, they are. I mean, you're below poverty. You're so below poverty, it's ridiculous. I mean, you're doing a 1 transaction a year for $200,000, and you're getting 3% of that, $6,000 a year. Nobody can live on that. So that person is doing something else for livelihood. It's
right.
A part-time situation. I would never, ever, ever worry about sharing. And that's the great thing about Craig Proctor's systems. Nobody that I know of in Craig Proctor kind of holds back. Everybody's pretty transparent. I know here in Phoenix, I talk to Proctor guys all the time here in Phoenix. We have like many masterminds on the phone. What are you doing that's working? What are you doing that's working? We're all different. Hell, Carol Royce is 2 miles from my office. I don't think I've ever gone head to head with Carol Royce on a listing appointment in my life. And Carol's a good friend of mine, and she does a lot of good business. We do too. But there's plenty of it out there, and I don't ever run into these people. I mean, in Phoenix market, we're doing 100,000 transactions a year. And the odds of me running into the 3 or 4 or 5 Proctor agents that are really on top of their game here in the Metro Phoenix area is pretty remote. So we just don't run into each other out there doing the business. We kind of help each other and assist all the way. And you'll find that to be true in the Proctor system throughout. I mean, you go to the super conference. I don't know that anybody that you go up to and ask a question or ask for some help. I don't know of anybody who won't bend over backwards to help you, especially the plat members and the diamond guys and the titanium guys. All those guys are super advanced are really going to bend over backwards to try to help you along.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. Lester, thanks so much for surprising us and coming on here today. Really helpful.
Have a great day, James, and good luck, everybody. Everybody have a great month.
Awesome. Thanks, Lester. Okay. Andrea, why don't we do this? Hopefully that got the juices flowing for everybody. And why don't we take some questions? We've got some time remaining here, and I'd love to hear what's on your mind about anything, regardless whether it's the system, what we're going to talk about, anything you'd like to discuss at the event, the conference. Just sky's the limit. And you can use your mic or just type into the chat. So why don't we do that, Andrea?
Yes, sir. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and click the hand icon if you have a working mic or on the telephone to ask a question aloud, or type your question if you have already done so. Mark says, "Hi, James. Please explain the USP. Your home sold at 100% of your asking price, or I will pay the difference."
Okay. Great question. Let me explain it this way. Asking price must be mutually agreed upon with you and the seller. All right, mutually agreed upon. You must mutually agree on that selling price before you're going to go ahead with that guarantee. Okay, there are conditions. That is the main condition. Agree on price. Now, how are you going to arrive at an agreed upon price? Well, by looking at comparable homes that have sold. When you arrive at that price, okay, if the seller says, well, I know that that is the likely price of my property, but I want to try it at a much higher price. Understand that if you elect to do that, that's perfectly fine. You can list it at a higher price, but it means that the guarantee is null and void. The condition of the guarantee very clearly states the property must be listed at market value that is mutually agreed upon by you and the seller. You sit down, you agree. Do you agree that this is the market value of the property based on comparable sales? Yes. Now, to get the guarantee, we need to list it at that price. I don't want to list it at that price. I'd like to list it at a higher price. That means that the guarantee is null and void. So first of all, you got to understand that. Now, let's say the seller does agree to list it at that price. Here's how this works. The difference cannot exceed the commission that you are going to earn on that property. All right, so let me explain what that means. All right, first of all, if you accurately determine the sales price or the likely market value of that property, you're probably going to be pretty accurate, and it's unlikely that you're going to get less than market value for the property. But let's say you do. Let's say that an offer comes in that is $1,000 under asking price, and that's the best you're able to do. Well, what it means is that you're going to deduct $1,000 from your commission, and you're going to make up the difference to get the asking price up to the guaranteed amount, the agreed upon market value. But what if it's extreme? Okay, what if it's extreme? What if the market takes a little dive unexpectedly, and now all of a sudden you're talking about a drastic difference? Here's the safety net that you put in place, okay? The difference between sales price and asking price, the difference cannot exceed your portion of the commission. So let's put it in easy to understand terms. If the amount of commission that you personally are going to take on the sale of this property is $10,000, okay, that means that if the property were to sell at market value, the commission that you would put in your pocket, that means after the co-op is paid, after your broker is paid, the commission that you personally are going to put in your pocket equals $10,000. What that means is this. The difference between what the home sells for and the guaranteed market value of the property cannot exceed $10,000. If it's more than $10,000, then you're only going to pay up to $10,000. Now, here's why that's a very important safety net. What it means is this. Really, the worst case scenario is that you're going to do this for free. That's what it means. But everybody else is still going to get paid. Your broker's not doing it for free. The cooperating broker isn't doing it for free. Only you are going to be doing it for free under the worst case scenario. Okay? So now here's the difference. When you say your home sold at your price or I'll sell it for free, see, the difference with that USP is what it means is if you sell the property for $1 less than asking price, then you have to sell it for free. Your commission is now free. You've worked for free, even though you only got them $100 less than asking price. The guarantee states your home sold at your price, guaranteed, or I'll sell it for free. If you fail to do that, it means you're giving up all of your commission. With this USP, what it's saying is, if your home will be sold at this price, or I'll make up the difference. So if the difference was $100 or $1,000, you'd much rather make up the difference from your commission. At least then you're making money. The problem with offering it for free is, well, if I'm offering to do it for free, it means that any amount under asking price means that now I'm working for free. So which USP would you rather do? Well, I'd rather make up the difference. Now, here's the bigger question, though. In marketing, which has a perception of value or more value? Your home sold at your price guaranteed, or I'll sell it for free, or your home sold for 100% of your price guaranteed, or I'll pay you the difference. What is more powerful? Well, this is a test. One of the ways that you want to look at this, though, is that they say that in marketing, if your claim is so grand that it is not believable, then it's rendered ineffective. So one of the reasons why I really like the USP, I'll make up the difference, is because that's a lot more believable than I'll work for free. I'll work for free might sound to a lot of skeptics like, there must be a catch. There's much more likely to be a catch to that. So maybe I won't call. Maybe I won't inquire about that. But your home sold at your price guaranteed, or I'll make up the difference, sounds a lot more believable. And if it's more believable, it's far more likely to generate a lot more action. So this is sort of the dilemma that you have when you're selecting a USP. The first thing you want to do is you want to look at your marketplace and who it is you're trying to attract. And what would be a great promise that you could make to that very audience that you'd love to attract, that you'd love to work with, and then develop a USP accordingly that would really compel that audience. So I hope that helps. I really like that USP. It's one that you could definitely implement with great success.
We have an audio question from Gurnam Pinsar. Your mic is open.
Hi, James.
Hello, who's this?
This is Gurnam.
Hey, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. I ran one Facebook ad and I got some leads, about 10.
Nice.
Only one of them gave correct phone number. All others were wrong. How to counter that?
Okay, so here's what you want to do. Make sure that you use an online directory. If they're giving you other information, they're going to give you a name, they're going to give you an address, any other information that they're giving you, you want to make sure you're looking it up online to get a phone number. Okay? It's almost no more complicated than a phone book. If you have a name, if you have an address, you can plug that in and get a phone number. All right? So let's say out of those 10 leads, 5 of them you could get phone numbers for.
Right.
I'm not saying you're going to get a number for all of them, but you can get a phone number for some of them. Okay. And I'll tell you what, on a Facebook ad, if you were able to get a hold of 5 of those 10 leads, that's pretty good. You keep doing that.
Okay, James. Thanks.
Okay. Now wait, let me give you one more option here as well.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that you can do, again, I wouldn't do it yet, but if it comes to it, all right, one of the things that you want to do is make sure that the prospects understand that they must leave accurate information. So one of the things you can do is above the contact information, you can have a little disclaimer in red on your landing page. Mm-hmm. And what the disclaimer is going to say is this: only accurate information will be processed and submitted. Okay? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like a warning. Be accurate. Only accurate information will be processed and submitted. So if somebody goes in there and they put Mickey Mouse and they give incorrect information, they're not going to get what they're looking for.
Great idea.
All right? But don't do that first. Don't do that first. Instead, let's just see what happens when you look up the information, and I bet you'll find you'll be able to get a lot of phone numbers. Thanks for your question.
Thank you.
Our next guest, Alex Malia. Your mic is now open.
Hey, James.
Hello, Alex. How you doing today?
Good. It's funny. I'm on the line, and you were talking about the USP that I've been running the last month.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing. I'm running it, and I'm first of all, I apologize. I'm nasally. I've got a bad cold, but I've been running it. I'm getting probably over the last 3 weeks, I've got about 36 visits to the landing page, fullaskingguarantee.com. but I haven't got anyone filling out the form.
Yeah.
Do you think I should look at my landing page, or?
Yeah, you know what?
I was thinking about what you guys were talking about earlier with that type of stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly why I brought that up.
Should I take that URL out and just leave it as a hotline thing, or?
Yep, that's exactly what you should do. That's the next test. See, here's why. The 36 hits, what does that tell you? It tells you that the USP is attractive. Obviously. Right. People are taking action. Like, they're not just looking at it and going, wow, Alex, that's cool, and then going on with their day. They're actually reading it, and then they're doing something. They're burning calories. They're taking action. So we know that the USP you're using, which, by the way, is your home sold for 100% of asking price guaranteed, or I'll pay you the difference.
Correct.
They're taking action on that. Here's the problem. What they're taking action doing isn't generating leads. So that means we've got to test something different. No big deal. No big deal. But fortunately, we've got lots that we can test. Here's what I'd really like you to test.
Okay.
I want you to test your direct phone number only.
Oh, okay.
Okay, just like Marcus is doing. Okay, by the way, Marcus has been doing this program for probably, 10 years with us, 5-10 years with us. So wow. I gotta think that the reason he's doing that is he knows something that you don't.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
So now that doesn't mean that a test isn't worthy, but this is what I want to ask you. Those 36 hits, they're spread out over what period of time?
I've only been running it for about 2.5 weeks. So,
okay, so we'll call that 20 days?
Yeah, and that's about 4,000 postcards. I did one drop of 4,000 postcards.
Okay, so
I ran an ad in the air banner. This is all jumbled within the last 2.5 weeks, right? Ran an ad in the local paper here, the air banner in Newmarket, as you know. And I've got my bus, in the back of the bus, I've got a display ad on there or what have you, a banner on the back of the bus as well, right?
Okay, well, here's what this is basically boiling down to.
Okay.
On average, you're generating about 2 leads a day from that. The quality, this is why I brought this up with Lester, the quality of prospect that would call off of a USP is such that it would be very worthy for you to talk to them.
Right.
Here's the question. If using the website gets you 2 leads or 2 prospects a day on average visiting the website, you put your direct phone number and maybe that gets chopped in half. What you're basically talking about is, could you handle 1 phone call on average every day from somebody saying, hey, Alex, I just saw your USP. How does that work?
Sure, I can handle that.
I think that's a phone call that you would happily take. Now, don't confuse that with like somebody, responding to property ads or universal offers, online home evaluations, all of that stuff. Yeah, you want that all to go to your website and your hotline.
Right.
But I want you to test this. And, the other thing I would say is this. Remember the real reason you're running this USP, okay? The USP, first and foremost, is not designed to generate leads. It's designed first and foremost to set you apart from competitors in the marketplace. That's what it's designed to do. It's designed to create a perception among the public, most of whom aren't going to be buying and selling right now, that Alex is the guy that'll sell your home for 100% of market value, or he'll pay the difference. That's the reason that you're running that. If all you wanted was to generate leads, then we would have told you to go and do online home evaluations, unbranded, completely unbranded, or offer distress sale lists of properties, great deals in Glenway or whatever. I mean, that's how you generate lots and lots of leads. But what you're talking about is both. So I think that would be a great test for you to do next. And let's see what happens. And then, of course, the next test would be the hotline.
Okay. Now, when you say direct phone number, are you talking like direct my cell phone type of thing, or the office, leave a message?
Yeah. Here's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a phone number that a human being will answer.
Of course. Okay.
If that's, I don't know if that's your phone number, but a phone number that human beings are going to answer.
Of course. Yeah. That would be either or, my office or my direct cell phone number, right? Okay.
Right.
Okay. And I guess I should stick with the less branded for online home evaluation and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll generate a lot more leads when you take away the realtor and the logo and all that stuff. It allows the prospect to focus on the benefit instead of focusing on the salesperson, and that's always what you want to do.
Perfect. Thanks, James.
You're welcome. Thanks, Alex.
Our next question comes in the form of chat from Katrina. How and where can I find a good assistant?
Okay, so Lester talked about how important it is that you find somebody that is a great administrative person. In other words, to handle all of those activities that really you can't change the outcome and that predominantly do not require a real estate license, which makes it easy to find good people because now you don't need to find real estate help. Right? What you're going to do is you're going to run an ad under help wanted in the newspaper, online. You're looking for office help. Very, very simply, office help. Now, here's what your ad is going to say. Okay? This is exactly what your ad needs to say. Busy real estate office requires administrative help. Real estate experience and asset, but not necessary. Fax resume too. And then put a fax number. The call to action is a fax number. Okay. Now here's why. You don't want to give a phone number because then you're going to get bombarded with phone calls from candidates that you've dismissed. If you get a resume and it's not somebody that you're interested in, you want to be able to throw that resume in the recycling bin and never, ever, ever worry about them again. Well, if you've only got a fax number, they can't call you. They don't know who you are. There's no phone ringing off the hook with people wanting the job. Okay, all you want are resumes faxed to you. Now, the alternative to that would be to set up a separate Hotmail or Gmail account just for these resumes, so that you could ask for the resumes to be emailed. The problem with that again is that it means that so I send in my resume to you, you hate it and you chuck it, and now all of a sudden every hour on the hour I'm sending you an email, bugging you. And really you don't want that. Now with a fax, that's eliminated. So that's why we like that option. But again, let me repeat the ad. It basically says this. Busy real estate office requires administrative help. Real estate experience and asset, but not necessary. Fax resume too. Now, if it's a part-time position, it could say this. Busy real estate office requires a part-time administrative help. Real estate experience and asset, but not necessary. Fax resume too. All right? Keep it really simple. But here's the great thing about it is we can run that ad under office help or general help. We're not looking for someone necessarily with real estate experience. So this person, especially in this day and age and economic climate, you're going to find someone really, really good in doing this. I mean, there are lots of really good people that are out there, and this is, this is the perfect time for you. As a small business owner, you're going to have lots and lots of choice, which means you're going to likely wind up with somebody who's really good. Who's next, Andrea? Let's take another one.
Yes, sir. Our next question comes from Carmine. What's your take on 100% of the agreed price instead of asking price? In other words, the price agreed between the seller and the realtor considering the possibility of a potential buyer negotiation.
Well, it's your program. Okay, so my thought is it's your program and it's your marketplace. So I guess you'd have to assess your marketplace. And if you look at your marketplace and you say, well, you know what? It's a seller's market. And I know that this property, as long as the listed price is reasonably within proximity to market value, I know that it's very likely the home is going to sell for, over market value. I mean, your marketplace better than anyone else. So you're able to look at this and you get to make the decision. You get to decide whether or not this is, remember this, we don't want to make promises that we can't keep. That doesn't make us look good. If you're making this claim that I'm going to sell your property at a certain amount and you don't, then it looks like you haven't lived up to your performance. That even though you're still going to get paid, it still doesn't look very good. So remember that. Assess the market conditions to make the determination, you know what? I can tell you right now that this property is going to sell for over market value. The market is going up. There's high demand, and we're going to list this property very competitively. Now, maybe we're going to list it a little bit over what I consider based on comparables to be market value, but I'm not going to list it so far over that we're not going to get very, very close to that asking price. It's your program. You make up the rules. You get to decide. Is it going to be market value or is it going to be asking price? Now, let me tell you, asking price is a lot more powerful. Think about the difference. Let me read you the difference. Your home sold for 100% of your asking price, guaranteed, or I'll pay you the difference, or your home sold for 100% of market value, guaranteed, or I'll pay you the difference. I'll tell you right now, your asking price is definitely a lot more powerful. So you'd much prefer to go with that. Now, the way to get around that is if you make your asking price market value, then it's really the same thing. Well, what is asking price? Asking price is mutually agreed upon by you and the seller, and it's based on market value, which is determined by comparable properties that have sold. So I hope that helps, but again, when you ask how does the program work, remember this. I can easily give you an outline of the program and the rules that you might want to consider, but ultimately, you get to decide. It will be your program, and as is your program, you get to make the rules of that program to suit you, to ensure that the program is both beneficial, but at the same time, you feel comfortable and confident implementing it. Okay, Andrea, let's take one more question for today, and then we'll wrap it up and let everybody get on with their week.
Yes, sir. We have an audio question from Harry Bing. Your mic is now open.
Hey, good morning. I put out some, had a couple of listens. I put out the multiple signs. I had the hotline sign out. I had buy this home and I buy yours. I also had out a sign for a virtual tour. To see a virtual tour of this home, text blah, blah, blah to this number. So I've been getting the people to click on the sign for the virtual tour so they can see it right there on their phone. I immediately get an email with their number. Okay. So it's essentially almost like a sign call. Yeah. But how do I best respond to that call? Because I don't think they're really expecting a call.
Of course they're not.
Okay, but then how do I convert that? How do I best convert that?
Well, let me suggest this. First of all, at the moment that they are in front of that property, getting that information, their brain is occupied with the thoughts of real estate. Okay, so there's no question that as time passes, following up with that lead is going to be more difficult. The time to follow up with them is really close to now. So, when you get that, if you're in a position where you can call them back, you want to do that quickly. Now, here's something that you might want to test. You're going to make the universal script. So I'm going to do this with you. So ring, ring. I'm calling you back. We're doing a role play. You answer the phone. Ring, ring.
Hello? Who's speaking?
Oh, hi. This is James McDonald calling with Harry Bing's office. And I know you weren't expecting a call. The reason I'm calling, I noticed that you just inquired about our property at 123 Maple Street, and I have some information prepared about that property. And if you like, I can send you a lot more details on that home if that would be helpful for you.
Okay.
Would that be okay?
Yeah, that would be good. That would be good.
And may I ask who I'm speaking to?
Yeah, this is Luttrell.
Luttrell? Luttrell, are you thinking about making a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
Okay. I'm finna interrupt here. So the best offer to make when I get on the phone, if I don't get hung up on immediately, is to offer more information.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Because remember this, the reason that they called in the first place is because they wanted information about this property. In other words, we know what their hot button is. Okay, their hot button is they want information about this property. Proof of that is in their actions. Okay, so now we're picking up the phone and we're saying, hey, Harry, I just got a message that you had called inquiring about information on 123 Maple Street. No, you weren't expecting a call, but you know what? I've got information prepared all about this property, real detailed information about this property. And if you like, I can go ahead and send you that information. I can text it to you if you'd like. Would that be helpful?
Okay.
And that's it. And now I shut up. Because here's why. I want you to think that the phone call's over now. I want you to think that all you have to say is, yes, that would be great, and boom, we're getting off the phone. That's the idea. Because now you're probably going to say, yeah, that would be great. That would be helpful. And then I say, hey, great. Hey, Harry, by the way, or I'd ask your name, and then I could say, hey, by the way, are you folks thinking about making a move in the next 3 to 6 months? Do you live in the neighborhood? Or are you outside there? Are you renting? Do you own? And boom, I'm in the universal script.
Okay. Let's see if we can reverse it. And I'm calling you back now, and you just not sent me a text. I just not got a text message that you clicked on the link to look at the virtual tour, and you're probably still right in front of the house right now.
You got it. Okay. So ring. Hello.
Hello, hey, this is Harry Bing. I saw you just clicked on the link to look at the virtual tour on the house on Whistlewood. I have some other information prepared for that house that I can easily get to you via email or text. Would you like to receive some of that information?
Yeah, sure. Thanks a lot. Wow, that was quick. I wasn't expecting a call from anybody.
Okay. And who do I have the pleasure of speaking to?
This is James.
Hey, James, are you looking to make a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
We're thinking about it.
Okay.
We're looking around.
Is that particular subdivision the only subdivision that you're interested in, or are you interested in other areas also?
Yeah, no. We're looking around. We got a few in mind. We're interested in price and what we can get for our price, and so yeah, we've got a few areas.
And how soon are you looking to make a move?
As soon as we find something.
Okay. Well, do you have a realtor to help you when that time is right?
No.
Okay. Let me ask you this right here. Do you have a home to sell? Are you going to be are you renting, or do you have a home to sell?
We're renting.
You're renting? Okay.
Yeah.
I think I have a way that can really work for you. I have a free service that doesn't cost you any money at all, and I can generate a list of homes for you that's going to include bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, distress sales, probate, divorce. Doesn't cost you anything at all. Keep your checkbook locked up. Don't need your credit card. But if we can get together for about 20 minutes, I can generate that list for you, and I think it'll really help you in your home search process. Would that be something you'd be interested in?
Yeah, that would be good. I could tell you what we're basically just sort of shopping on price right now. If you could just go ahead and send that list to me. Would that be easier?
Well, if I really want to do a good job for you, and that's why I say all I would need is about 15 to 20 minutes of your time in my office where we can sit down and I can get a detailed list of exactly what you're looking for, put together that profile on my computer, and then get you built into our home hunter system and get the process working for you. Do you have any time available at 2 o'clock today, or would 5 be better?
Today would be fine, but we'd have to do something, a little earlier, sometime before 3.
Okay, well that would work. That would work fine. 2 is before 3, so I'll see you at my office at 3 o'clock, and blah 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 blah.
Good. Okay, now a couple little comments here. First of all, when you're introducing your program, your buyer offer, don't introduce it as a free buyer service. Okay, because it sounds like a sales pitch. Don't do that. Just tell them what it is. Okay. So in other words, it would sound like this. Excuse me. It would sound like this. Harry, would you like me to email you every single day all the properties as they come on the market that perfectly match what you're looking for? I'll include bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, distress sales, probates, any special deals that match what you're looking for. I will immediately send them to you. And now is when you say, I'll do it for free Don't bring your, you don't need to give me any money. This is absolutely a free service, and you're never obligated to buy anything. Would that be helpful for you?
Okay, the benefit
in other words,
first. Okay.
Benefit, tell them what it is first. Don't introduce, see, here's what you did. Harry, I have a service that I offer. Now, it is a free service, but I think it would be really helpful for you. And I got to tell you, what the prospect is thinking right now is, here comes the sales pitch, right? They're thinking, here comes the sales pitch. So don't do that. Just tell them what it is. Just say, hey, Harry, would you like me to set you up on an email every day so that you're notified of the very best properties that match what you want? Here's the other thing that I would suggest. Just based on this circumstance, I want you to be able to think on your feet. The prospect that you're talking to right now, Harry, as we speak, they are driving around looking at properties. That's true, right?
Correct.
So what if you said this? Hey, Harry, any of the properties that I send you, and I can immediately prepare these properties, any of the properties that we look at and identify that really appeal to you, I would be more than happy to immediately set up showings so we can go and take a look at them right away. There's no cost to it. There's no obligation. Would that be helpful for you?
Okay, yes. Yes, that would be.
All right. So I want you to consider, for a prospect that's driving around looking at properties, if they saw one that they really loved, do you think they'd love to be able to go up to the front door and go inside and take a look? And the answer is yeah, of course.
Yes.
That's why they're calling the virtual tour in the first place. Okay, so when you make them that offer, don't be surprised when they say, yeah, that would be great.
Okay, and then immediately after they accept that offer and they agree to come into my office, then I can, or let me ask you this, do I make the second offer that I can also immediately set up showing on these houses? Do I use that if they have resistance to the first offer?
Yeah, no, it should all be included.
Okay.
It should all be included as one. Remember, you want to bombard them with the benefit. And if you talk about the benefit first and then you follow it up with, hey, you know what? The whole thing is free. I never charge you a nickel. You're never, ever obligated to buy anything, But since, Harry, you're driving around looking right now, you're burning gas right now looking for properties, I've got a better, easier way for you to find those properties. All it would require is 15 minutes for us to sit down and do a good job, and I'm flexible. What's good for you, days, evenings, weekends?
Okay.
All right?
Okay,
good job. Good job. Let's do that again on Thursday. If you're on the role play call, we'll see how you're doing with that, and we'll redo that role play.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much, James.
Thanks a lot, Harry. Appreciate it. Okay, Andrea, thanks so much for your help. Lester's gone, but I want to thank Lester as well. That was really good. Don't forget, Thursday's the role play call. Friday's our ad clinic. So make sure that you do upload your ads from this week. Don't assume that we wouldn't want to look at it, whether it's working or whether you'd like it to work better than it is. Please upload everything that you're doing right now so we can pick and choose and have some great ads to look at come Friday. So until then, have an awesome week, everybody. Andrea, thanks so much again for your help, and have a great day.
Thank you, James. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a wonderful afternoon.